Knowledge is so powerful because of knowledge influence our thoughts. Thoughts influence our decisions. Decisions influence our actions. And our actions influence our habits. Our habits influence whether we become successful or not. So I think we have to go back to start seeking the knowledge. Because without knowledge, we will perish. Without knowledge, we will die in poverty, thinking that there is no life. There's a point in my life where I've asked myself that if there's someone out there driving Mercedes-Benz, driving a G-Wagon, BMW, and I am living in poverty, what makes the difference between me and that person? Hey friends, and welcome to the Unpaid Show podcast with myself, Johannes Baloyi, and thank you for joining me because this is a place where we unpack the question we have in mind on the challenges we come across as we go about building and improving our lives. Friends, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when we release a new episode. I'm sure at some point in life, growing up, we were told to give our lives to God so that we can be saved from all the uncertainty of life, from matlhoko a bophelo, from those saddest situations of life. And I, for one, I've been one of a person who's told that, Johannes, you need to give your life to God. And this was told to me when I was growing up. And to me, my only understanding that when I was told to give my life to God, my only understanding was that I should pray each and every day and I should go to church each and every Sunday. To me, that was my understanding about giving my life to God. And though I did all that, I still witnessed matlhoko a bophelo. I still witnessed all the uncertainty of life. And in all of those things, I would ask myself that, where is God? Haven't you ever been in a situation whereby you are in one of the most difficult and a devastating situation, where you even ask yourself that, amongst all of these things, in the midst of all of these things, where is God? And I think it is because we don't have an understanding of the ways of God. And that's why this week I want to come into your space to encourage us to say that let us understand the ways of God and realize that our struggles are meant to shape who we become. Because just think about this. For you to be who you are and where you are at this point in life, it is because of the situations that you went through in life. All of those situations, they shaped you. They made you to be who you are today. That's why I want to say that our struggles and problems, they shape who we become. And we should understand the ways of God. Because I think that only if we understand the ways of God, we will be able to be fully clear and realize when things are happening, to realize that things are happening the way they happen because of God as a purpose. Because I'm at a point in life where I'm starting to realize to myself, and these are actually the internal conversation that I have with myself, to say that don't panic when things are not going exactly how you want. Don't panic when things are taking a different direction. Maybe God is taking you through a transition to change your life, to change the direction of your life. So most of the time we get stuck at one place, yet we pray each and every day to say, God, save us from all of these things that we go through. To say, God, answer our prayers, and yet we are stuck in one place. never going anywhere, because sometimes God is taking you through a different direction, but you're still resisting yourself, never wanting to move from where you are. And it is understandable, because of, as human beings, we tend to identify ourselves to situations and to people. We find it hard to let go. That's why when things seems to be changing, we panic. We don't want to let go. We don't want things to change. But only if you can accept the flow of life and believe and also trust in God, maybe God, in that moment when things are not going exactly how you want, when things are taking a different direction, maybe God is taking you through a transition to actually change the direction of your life, to actually introduce you to a new life, introduce you to new people who will be able to take your life to the next level. Because I believe that for us as people to get to the next level, there has to be people who lift us to exactly where we want to be. And we pray to God, God, save us, save me from these situations. And when God takes your life through a different direction, you don't want to change. What if your life, in that moment where your life is going through a different direction, but your life falling apart, it's God giving you a sign that I'm taking you through a transition. I'm actually answering your questions. That's why understanding the ways of God, it is something that is very important, because it is so sad at how a lot of us, we have turned our back on God, thinking that God is not present in our lives. Because when you go through difficult times, praying to be saved, praying that God may actually help us in those difficult situations, and we see nothing changing, we tend to give up. And this is solely because of our mind is so wired in a way that we think God alone is responsible for everything that's happening in our life. And I'm going to say this again. We are so wired in a way that we think that God alone is responsible for everything that happened in our life. And you may ask yourself that, why am I saying that God why are we wired in a way that we think God alone is responsible in everything that happens in our life? Because most of the time we say that God is responsible for everything that is happening in our life. Yes, that's true. But you are also working together with God in your life. That's why when we want a certain change in our life, we have to pray to God, say, God, help me. And you also have to make another decision. You have to make a decision, make action. Take action into your life so that God can be able to help you. Sometimes we go to church, we hear pastors, prophets prophesying, you are going to get a job. I receive, but yet you are not getting a job. Your life is going to change. I receive, but your life is not changing. Why is it not changing? And yet we blame God to say God is not working in our life. God is not at work in our lives. Pastors are lying, prophets are lying. Sometimes they are not lying, even though sometimes they are those who are lying, but not all of them are lying. Some are telling the truth, but because of we are not doing anything, but because of Rentefela not doing anything, we don't receive our blessings. And at some point we blame God to say, God, why isn't my life changing? Why am I not being blessed? This is because of we are so wired that God alone is responsible for everything that's happening in our life. But truth be told, God alone is not responsible in everything that is happening in your life. You are also, you and God, let me say I and God, we are co-workers working together in my life. Even you and God are co-workers working together in your life for God to deliver you, for God to take you exactly to where you want to be in life. That's why when I decide to take a different turn in my life, this is a prayer I make. I say, God, I'm about to make a hard decision. I'm about to make a life-changing decision. Guide me, protect me, and give me strength and wisdom as I'm taking this journey. God is going to give me the wisdom, is going to guide me, but I'm the one who's going to be walking. Most of the time, God is giving us all of those things, but we are not walking. So us walking, we are actually co-working with God, because of God has to do their part, which is providing to us the wisdom, knowledge to protect us while we are working. Sometimes we just have to believe in ourselves. Take that leap of faith. Most of the time, the reason why we are so stuck, part of the reason why we are so stuck, it is because of we don't believe in ourselves. We are so scared. We pray to God and God give us exactly what we want. But because of we are so scared to take an action, we end up being stuck in life. The Bible in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 15, God says that I have set before you life and death, and I advise you to choose life. And you may ask yourself that, what is the life that God is talking about? And I came to realize that, and it's not only a realization, but I think this is not solely, or this is not entirely the physical life and death. I think it is also about the life that you are not meant to live. As human beings, we've got a gut feeling. Sometimes we're in a situation where you feel like your gut is telling you that no. Things are not going right here. No. This is not the life that I'm meant to live. Because of a lot of us, deep within us, we know that the life we live and the things we do, it's not the life that is meant for us. Where we are in life, it's not where we are supposed to be in life. But because of we think that we don't have freedom, we end up being there and dying where we are. You know, each and every single day I listen to podcasts. I'm the biggest fan of podcasts. I'm a biggest fan of reading books. If you can go to Google right now and search PDF drive, there's about plus 3 billion books that are being uploaded every single minute. Even the number is fluctuating. If you can go to Spotify, any podcast platform, there's so many podcasts that you can listen to. There's so much knowledge out there. But I think it is because of the world we live in today. It has taken away the freedom of choice in our lives. Our freedom of choice, it's been taken away from us by church. Our freedom of choice is being taken away from us by school, the media, and the things that we are being told each and every single day. School teaches us that life is one size fits all, of which it's impossible. Church teaches us that the devil is responsible for everything that is happening in our life, of which it's totally impossible. I think it's just a bullshit. The media teaches us that life is too perfect, it's all rosy, it's soft. Life is not. It's difficult. Parents and society, they expect us to actually make it in life once we finish school, of which it's not gonna happen. Sometimes it takes time. So this knowledge that is being imparted in our mind, it is actually taking away from us the freedom of choice. That's why the book of Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, if I am right, the book of Hosea says that it is actually God in the book of Hosea where he says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Now, let me first finish with the book of Deuteronomy. I think God in the book of Deuteronomy, it tells us that we are given a choice. But like I said, that the media, society, parents, school, church, they have taken away from us our freedom of choice. In the book of Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, God says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Today, you and I, we suffer because of we think that we don't have a choice, but we have a choice. The knowledge that is imparted in our mind, it has taken away from us the freedom of choice. We think that we don't have a choice. We don't have knowledge that we have a choice. That's why we are perishing. Right now, a lot of us, we live in poverty. We think that there's no life out there, but there's life out there. But because of the poverty that we live in, we don't have knowledge that there is life beyond the poverty that we live in. I think in life, the first step to success, it's knowledge. Knowledge is so powerful because of knowledge influence our thoughts. Thoughts influence our decisions. Decisions influence our actions, and our actions influence our habits. Our habits influence whether we become successful or not. So I think we have to go back to start seeking the knowledge. Because without knowledge, we will perish. Without knowledge, we will die in poverty, thinking that there is no life. There's a point in my life where I've asked myself that if there's someone out there driving Mercedes-Benz, driving a G-Wagon, BMW, and I am living in poverty, what makes the difference between me and that person? And that's when I came to realize that what makes the difference between successful people and poor people, it's knowledge. Successful people are successful because they've got the knowledge on how to be successful. We don't have the knowledge on how to be successful. That's why we are perishing. That's why we are dying in poverty. That's why we are dying of suffering. That's why we are dying of depression, dying of stress, because we think that we don't have a choice. But the truth is, our choice has been taken away from us by I would say the false knowledge that is imparted in our mind. I remember when I dropped out of school thinking that it is over with my life, thinking that I'll never be happy, thinking that I will never have a beautiful job, thinking that I'll never be successful. That was one of the most devastating time in my life. I thought that it was over with me. And after struggling and trying to build my life, to rebuild my life, I started to realize that the knowledge that was put within me was the one determining my poverty, my stress, my depression. And that's when I realized that our struggles shape who we become. Sometimes we live in poverty longer to a point that poverty, it shapes our life to stay there. It molds us. It cripples us to continue living in poverty. That's why when you are in poverty, if you lack knowledge, the poverty, it's going to cripple you. It's going to lead you to depression, stress. You're going to end up dying. That's why knowledge is such an important thing in life, that when you are knowledgeable enough, you will know that you deserve better. When you're not knowledgeable enough, you will know the good things and the wrong things in your life. I've realized that poverty, it's not good. Poverty, it's almost as a curse. And there may be people who disagree with me, and of course it's right. You're free to disagree with me. Just share your thoughts on the comment section below and share your thoughts on why you disagree with me. But here's my point. When you are poor, you live at the mercy of the circumstances. You don't have a choice as to what you eat. You just eat what is put before you. You just associate yourself with the people who are before you. You just choose to do the things that are before you because you don't have a choice. They say money is the root of all evil, but I disagree. What you make out of money determines whether the money will be the root of all evil or money will be a good thing in your life. If you can watch what we call, there's this show, I Blew It. If you can watch I Blew It, you'll realize that most of the people who are in I Blew It, when you look at them, you think that money is the root of all evil. But how those people think, it leads them exactly to where they are going, leading a life of poverty, leading a life where they end up losing everything that they lose. And I've come to realize that we live in a world where you have to be quick successful. We live in a world where you have to continue showing up to the world that you are living a good life. That's why social media, it's slowly killing us. Social media, it's slowly killing our success, killing our ability to be successful. Because of most of the time, you cannot be patient with yourself in this journey as you're going to be successful in life. Solely because of you have to keep up with social media. You have to keep up with someone that you don't know. You have to keep up with your friends. Keep up with the people who are looking up to you. Sometimes you just have to put away all of those people. Focus on your life. Take everything one step at a time. We talk each and every day about lack of opportunities, but I've come to realize that there are tons of opportunities out there. But because of our thoughts, because of we Our life is so much controlled by society. We end up thinking that you don't have a choice. You just have to continue living in that way. Our situations, our struggles, our poverty, our problems, they end up shaping us to be who we become. But when we reflect to the Bible, you'll realize that the Bible is such an amazing book. God tells us clearly in the book of Deuteronomy that you have a choice. You just have to make one decision and stick to it. Because of one of the most difficult thing in life to do is to make one decision and stick to it. Making one decision is not easy and sticking to that one decision, because of you have to make one decision, stick to it, and as you stick to that decision, when you come across challenges, you face them, you fight them, you solve them, and you keep moving. Because of what we do a lot of time is that when you come across challenges, you give up in that thing and you go and find something else. When you come across across challenges in that next thing, you give up on it. You go and find the next thing. You live on moving from one thing to the next thing, from one thing to the next thing, from one thing to the next thing, because of it's so difficult to make one decision and stick to it. But once we understand that sometimes the situation we are through, the situation that we are in, are meant to shape us to be good people, to build good things out of our life, that's when our life will change. And we have to have an understanding of God, understanding of the ways of God, that God alone, he's not entirely responsible for our lives. We are the co-workers with God. We are the colleagues with God. God is doing his part, and we also have to come on board and do our own part. I made a quote for myself that, like a learner failing as a result of getting into exam room without preparation, the same thing goes with life. We get into life without preparing ourselves, and as a result, we keep hitting rock bottoms and failing. Life sometimes do push us through rock bottoms, and it's hard to come out of that rock bottoms. It's hard to make a decision to move outside of your comfort zone. Because of making a decision to move outside of your comfort zone, it's so difficult. You have to live the lifestyle that you were used to living. You have to let go of the people you were so used to living with for a better life in front of you, for a better life ahead of you. And because of how difficult it is to let go, you end up being stuck in that rock bottom, end up never coming out of that rock bottom. Because the truth about life is that you need to be prepared. Preparation comes with knowledge that is going to influence you to have a different understanding. A different understanding will actually help you to lead a good life. So everything starts from education. If you can educate yourself with the right and the relevant education, you're going to lead a good life. You will understand that you are the creator of your own life. You will understand that you are the creator of the situations that are happening in your life. And before I close, I just want to make this, because I've actually asked myself that if we say that it is the devil who is responsible for every bad thing that is happening in our life, of which I'm not sure even myself. If we say that we are fighting against the devil, are we really sure that we're going to win this battle? Because the Bible tells us clearly that the devil was sitting at the right hand of God. The devil was the favorite angel of God. The devil knew the ins and outs of heaven and of God. As human beings, do we really have that ability and capability to fight against the devil? Up to this point, it's still a question, because we keep saying that you are fighting against the devil. But right now, I'm starting to realize that the devil was an angel of God. I've never been to heaven. The devil has been into heaven. He knows each and everything about God. Am I ready? Do I have what it takes to fight the devil? And I think it's a question that I would leave with you to say, ask yourself that. Are you ready to fight the devil? Because the devil once sat at the right hand of God. He has true powers of God. And he was cast, according to the Bible, out of heaven to come and rule the world which is the earth that we're living in. So do you have what it takes to fight the devil? Are you going to win this battle of fighting the devil? So it's a question that I'm going to leave with you. So when I say that we should use our struggles to reshape our life to be better person, I see it with myself. I have built the Unpack Show podcast based on my struggles, because on the Unpack Show podcast we talk about the daily challenges, the reality we live in, the questions that we have as youth about the reality of life, those uncomfortable conversations. Because it looks like as youth we have so many questions about the reality of life, and it looks like there's no one who's able to answer those questions. That's why as youth we are dying, we are giving up in life as a result of never having that person to actually answer that one simple question that you have in mind about the reality of life that you live in. So I think we need to come to a point where we realize that maybe we need to use our struggles in order to use them as a stepping stone to get to where we want to be in life. Because if you can look at all successful people, you'll realize that successful people have built their lives based on their struggles. And I think this is something that us, from the bottom where we are in life, thinking that we want to be successful, we should use our problems and struggles to shape our lives to become better individuals. And it is with growth and maturity where I came to realize that maybe giving our lives to God means that we should submit to our assignment. And it is a question that we should ask ourselves, that what is our assignment in this life? Because personally for me, I've come to a point where I realized that my assignment in this world is to give light to the lives of people, to shed light into the lives of people. Because I'm a young person and I know how it feels to be a young person from a poor background facing the hardships of life. So I'm here to just shed a light, to kind of tell people to say that you can be there, but that is not the end of life. There is light. Because most of the time when we walk through the dark tunnel of life, we end up giving up and settling in the darkest tunnel, inside the dark tunnel, because we think that there is no life at the end of the road. But there is light at the end of the road. And this is something that I've come to realize about life. And I have built the Unpack Show podcast based on that. So yeah, this is what we had for you this week on the Unpack Show podcast, unpacking the question you have in mind as we go about building and improving our lives. So as we go about living our lives, I think it is important that we should pray and ask God to reveal to us the assignment He had for us in this life. Till we meet again on the next episode, be blessed, be healthy, and as my role model Vusi Tembekwayo once said, have the spirit of the underdog. Goodbye.